Hello there everyone. Thanks for joining me today. It is a Sunday just after midday and I thought I'd pop on and share with you my Sunday wins and going slow on a Sunday. If you've not been here before, my name's Rebecca. I live here in the Blue Mountains of New South Wales, Australia, which is just a little bit west of Sydney. And I like to share what I make for myself and sometimes for other people. So we're talking patterns and fabric. I don't know about you, but I'm just feeling a little bit pushed and harried and overwhelmed at the moment. So I thought I'd do a bit of a Sunday reset. I just have a little chat to you about how I'm going to take it slow today and also share with you a few recent purchases and finds and small wins. So this morning I've sat down at my machine and I've finished off a pattern that I was testing, and it's really different for me. It's a skirt and the style is really different, and that's why I wanted to do it, to challenge myself to do something that I don't usually reach for and see if I liked it. And I'm actually quite pleased with how it turned out. I made the pattern it's a Stitch Maiden pattern, and that they already had, and they're extending the size. So I really like that philosophy of broadening the size band and doing a pattern test, not just relying on the old pattern, but doing a pattern test for the larger sizes to make sure it works for people. I'm really pleased to have finished that this morning. I've also had to remind myself to pick up a couple of things that needed mending and to just do it. Things don't have to be perfect, they just have to be good enough. So on Sundays, I really like, no, not just on Sundays, on any day, I love wearing soft things. But on Sundays, my soft things are flannel shirts, and I love buying these secondhand because someone else has already softened them up and worn them in. But that means they quite often wear easily for me and develop holes. So this one, I noticed last time I washed it, it's my current favorite because it's just so soft and lovely. It had a tear where the collar joins the shoulder. So I just put white thread in the machine. If I fiddle around too much with getting the color right, I will never do it. So I just reduced the zigzag and I went over a few times, and you know what? It's good enough, and now I can wear it again. Possibly you can't even tell on this one where I've done it. The other thing I have had sitting around for about a month is a really beautiful pair of soft and warm woolen tights. So I looked up on a couple of websites to replace these, and they're really expensive because they're beautiful, beautiful quality. So the rest of the tights are good. I just had a hole in both feet where my big toe obviously puts a lot of pressure. Again, they'd been sitting there for a month waiting for me to learn how to darn. So I decided it didn't matter that the machine had white thread, I just needed to do it. So again, I turned these inside out and just did a really small zigzag, and you can see a tiny bit of the white, but my feet are going to be in shoes, so who cares? So that's all fixed, hopefully ready for another year of wear when the weather gets a bit colder. So then my first, I guess that's 3 small wins for a Sunday morning. Yay! I love flannelette shirts so much that I don't even bother putting them back in my cupboard anymore. I have 3 hooks in my bedroom and I just pop them up on there, wash them, pop them back, and when I get home after work, do the strip off and one of those comes straight on. I'll show you. I am filming in my sewing room, but I don't think I've showed you this particular angle before. I recently put this back up on the wall and it's got a nice little story to it. These are old cigar cards that you used to get in a pack of cigars, and my mum's dad, called him my papa, he smoked during World War II and afterwards, and then he finally quit. But a lot of the cards were collectibles, and my mum kept all these different sets. This one is an old movie star set, and when myself and my cousins all turned 30, she had different sets professionally framed and gave them to us for our 30th birthdays. So this one's a movie star set. Someone else got a train set of cards and someone else a set of ships. And it's just a really, really nice memory of our grandpa. And so that's what's on the wall behind me. On Mother's Day, I managed to see my mum and one of my sisters, and she was very, very kind and gifted me some lovely things. One of them was this super cute pair of earrings. Lovely. I think I'll break them out this week and wear them, a bit of fun. And because I often suffer from migraines from shoulder and neck pain, she made me a brand new heat pack, and it's also in flannel or flannelette fabric because she knows how much I love it. I love the softness on my skin. That is so fun and so sweet, and I've already used that. And she gave me a lovely big pack of peanut M&Ms because I love things that are small and crunchy, and they're delicious. I have made a few recent fabric purchases and I have them here to show you. One I got yesterday from Spotlight and I've washed it ready to be used. It's this really, it's so soft. That's why I got it. I hadn't intended to buy fabric at Spotlight, but I walked through and went, that looks nice, and I touched it and went, it feels nice. And I love the lines as well. So it's a cream corduroy knit fabric, like really stretchy and soft, and I thought this would be a really good wardrobe staple for autumn and perhaps layered into winter. I'm going to make my second Inez top from, I think it was Shakud Patterns. I'll put it up in the corner so you can see. I've made a red one of these and I'm reaching for it all the time because it's so lovely and easy to wear and really quite stylish, just with the simpleness and the neckline. Sorry, with the simplicity and the slightly high neckline. So that was just from a Spotlight store, which is a really common fabric store here in Australia. And my next one was also from Spotlight, and this is for making a pair of trousers. This is again for a winter make and is super duper soft. This is I think it's a non-stretch velvet. I just love the depth of this color and the softness of the fabric. So that's going to be for a pair, let the color go back. That's going to be for a pair of trousers. I'm thinking maybe that free pattern, I think it's called the Everyday Culottes by Matchy Matchy Sewing Club. I thought that could look really great with the pin tucks down the bottom. Anyway, so that's the plan for that. That's the plan for both of those pieces of fabric. Continuing on with the blue theme, I actually recently saw some fabric advertised on Marketplace. Someone was getting rid of a whole lot of old quilting fabrics, so I did pick them up and I thought they'd be really nice to mix and match. Again, what came to mind was a new Matchy Matchy Sewing Club pattern. I think it's, yes, the Playdate blouse. And I thought these would go really well to mix and match together. So there's this really deep, it'll probably come up as a black, but it's actually a navy blue with dusky pink and a slight green floral. It's really vintagey, very vintage vibes. And I have actually already used that. That's my remnant to make up the Stitch Maiden skirt, because the skirt pattern is quite vintagey, so I thought I'd really lean into that. Okay, I guess all of them are quite vintagey. This one is really lovely and soft. It's a ditzy floral print with blue again and a white background. And they were all really decent amounts of fabrics that I could actually make a garment into a garment. And this is perhaps my favorite. It's kind of got like a very, very light gray slash lilac background with then navy blue and deeper lilac and a little bit of green. Very pretty. I can really imagine some of those going together with that Matchy Matchy Playdate blouse. Another small win I've had recently is I made a whole set, another set of these coasters. And they kind of all mix and match to go together. I don't think I'll be looking at this pattern again. It is quite fiddly. But I did have fun seeing if I could make it neater and faster. Anyway, they're just little coasters, and the pattern maker is Minky Kim. So there's a whole set of 8 there. Yeah, so I was really pleased. It's nice to try things and decide whether it's a win. I really like them. I think they're super sweet, but the scallop made it quite time consuming, and because of the round, the quite pronounced curve, it was quite tricky to get the edge where you had the hole to turn it back inside the right way to finish that really neatly. I was not quite satisfied. That's why I kept persevering and keep going and making more. I was trying to really perfect that, and yeah, in the end, I thought it's okay, but I don't love the finish of that final curve. And sometimes I tried it in the indent as well, and that didn't work any better for me. They're all fine. No one else would notice. It's just me trying to get it just right. So a nice little set of those ready to go. This is another really small Sunday win. This is another one of those tiny things that I've had sitting around to do for at least a month and only took me 10 minutes to do. I hate chucking out glass jars because they're so helpful and reusable. I quite often put little lunch or breakfast things in them and take them to work because I eat my breakfast at work, and I quite often put a little bit of granola or some fruit and yogurt in one. Anyway, I had a couple of cool little jars, but you know when the stickiness from the sticker just won't quite come off. So I did that this morning and got it all free of stickiness and glue and ready to use. And I just use a little bit of eucalyptus oil. The bonus is it smells amazing. And I'm also going to use the eucalyptus oil to do a little reset before I sit down and do anything else at the sewing machine. I'm going to give everything a bit of a dust and a vac, and then I do have wooden floors and I've vacuumed them a lot, but I haven't washed them for a few weeks. So I'm going to put a little bit of eucalyptus oil in the hot water, and that just gives everything such a beautiful fresh smell. So I'm going to do that reset in just a little bit before I get on with anything else for my day. The other thing I have to share with you are a few purchases and a few plans. So recently I've been listening to the Love to Sew podcast and I'm absolutely loving it. Totally hooked, can't get enough. One of their recent podcasts was on patchworking, and the lovely women who run, sorry, their names are Helen and Rebecca. Helen runs Helen's Closet Pattern Company, and the other lovely, I think it's Christine, and she runs Blackbird Fabric and the Attached Pattern Company. They've both recently just put out posts on Instagram of their latest patchwork makes, and they were just beautiful. I love it. I love using up scraps so we're not putting them into the earth, and I also love how creative we get when we use scraps and sew slowly. So I'll put up the images of their latest makes. I have also recently bought the Sew Bake Make cardamom quilt pattern, cardamom quilt jacket pattern. I think that's what it's called. And so now I really want to put that into action and make it a patchwork project. So I have started to gather together red and white scraps and iron those, and just have an afternoon of just cutting out of fabric and getting my ideas in order for that. I'll show you the fabrics I've pulled together so far. This is a little remnant from another project, and I think I originally bought it at an op shop. So that's a little red and white fabric, probably the thinnest one I'll use. I'm actually not sure if that will work, but I'm going to try it because I really like it's kind of folky. I like that. And I think it'll go with the ginghams that I've pulled out. I discovered that I had a whole lot of just plain white strips cut out from a past quilting project. They're good to go. Someone gave me, this is quite a big chunk, someone gave me this red fabric, and that'll be great for the in-between plain squares. I did look at using this, but I think it's not quite right for the color palette of the rest of the fabrics that I pulled out. So I'm going to leave this tiny bit of precious Merchant and Mills cotton linen for another project. I've got some really small remnants of this fabric, which you might remember from a beautiful boho dress that I made. I'm sure I've got a little bit more, but I just can't find it at the moment, but I haven't given up hope. And I've got a nice remnant piece of this red and white gingham, which I'm kind of basing all the other bits of fabric around. So this is a favorite piece of vintage gingham I bought at the Sewing Basket, which is like a sewing op shop. They also support people with disabilities getting into the workforce. So there's a really good doubly do-gooder purpose for supporting them in New South Wales. Anyway, I love this fabric. This has become one of my favorite tops, the Finch top. And so I thought, oh, I really love that. I'd love to wear it in a different way. I don't have enough for a whole project, so let's patchwork it. So I think I'm going to pull out a few more bits that will match that color palette and just have a bit of fun cutting and starting to put some blocks together for a cardamom quilt jacket. So I've had a little job change. I'm coming off class to do a different job where I help other teachers understand the curriculum and implement it, and I'm doing that. I'm not sure what the time frame is. It's at least 6 months. So I have had this wonderful, wonderful group of children that I get to spend every day with, and our time has been cut short. A wonderful opportunity for me, but it's still hard to walk away from a beautiful class. So I'm going to put together a small gift for them. So I've got some cards, just thanks for being a gorgeous group of students, and I'm going to sit down and write all of those today. I love my job, by the way. I love learning about learning and how I can teach people better. I love it. I love to see the success on people's faces when I do my job really well. I find that really exciting. I really enjoy the way research is going, that we've learned so much more about the brain in the last 20 to 30 years, that we know how to teach better. I love my job. I find it so interesting and so rewarding. Okay, so I've got quite a big box here full of stuff, and I've just opened it up. Here's part of my little gift, something a little bit sweet. I would usually bake something, but I don't really have time at the moment to do that. I did bake my class brownies for Easter. Chupa chups. Do we all know that's a little bit of artwork? That's a little bit of Salvador Dali artwork on the Chupa Chup packet. Something a little bit sweet, and when we do work in the classroom, often these days we do it on whiteboards first, so we practice. Sometimes when kids go straight to their books, they're reluctant to put pencil to paper because they're worried about making errors. So we do a lot of work on whiteboards, and it just frees them up because it's easily rubbed off, and that just kind of frees up their anxiety. But we're always running out of the whiteboard markers. So I bought some big packets, and hopefully they're really nice ones. They've got the chisel top, and I'll just put together some little packs so they can all have their own little pack of whiteboard markers. Probably only 3 each because it gets a bit expensive. Yeah, they're nice. I wasn't sure. I'd never ordered those before. Hopefully everyone will appreciate a card and a little gift this week as I finish that up. Earlier I said I went to Spotlight, but not for fabric, and I forgot to tell you what I went there for. Just a little bit more spray adhesive. I've been doing some quilting projects, and I found this makes a huge difference. It just makes life a lot easier when you go to quilt your sandwich together. It really stops it from moving around. So I topped up on that, and my iron has been dying over the last 6 months, and it's spitting a lot of stuff on my fabric now. So I dropped in to also grab a new iron. They didn't have in the store that I went to the one that I wanted, but they did have this little Prim steam iron. And so I used this to make that new skirt, and I really liked it. It was just so handy to pop your hand on top and to glide around and really get into all the seams. So maybe at this stage I would have enjoyed any new iron, but the small size makes it a lot easier to get into nooks and crannies and flatten things out with your sewing. Yeah, so that's it. That's it for my little purchases. That's it for my slow Sunday sharing. I'm going to go and make my house smell beautiful and my floors shine, and then I'm just going to have a lovely afternoon of cups of tea, cutting out some fabric, and also probably sitting on the lounge to read a book or two, and probably listen to some more Love to Sew podcasts. I hope you are enjoying your Sunday afternoon. May it be slow and cozy for you as well. Feel free to put in the comments what you've been up to on this Sunday afternoon. Thanks for joining me today, everyone. Bye for now.